Today's episode of Voiced is from r/entitled parents and is about a parent demanding their child inherit all their belongings, leaving nothing for anyone else. What happens when the OP refuses? Subscribe if you enjoy.
I'm 39, successful, and am quite well off. My siblings, sadly, are not. My brother, who is 42 years old, has 3 children. My sister, who is 35, also has 3, with 1 on the way. My youngest sister, who is 28 years old, is married and pregnant, but she had nothing to do with the events of this post. We were all raised to believe that money doesn't matter, and all you need is a happy marriage and lots of kids to live a happy life. Being poor and having lots of kids was somehow glorified. Maybe because that's the way our parents lived, and wanted to convince themselves that they didn't mess up. Fortunately for me, I didn't buy into that nonsense. I always knew I never wanted children. I focused on my career and on achieving success. Today, I have my own house, wonderful pets, and a loving boyfriend. My family, however, seems to think that there's something wrong with my lifestyle. My parents have often commented that my 5-bedroom house is empty without any kids running around. My siblings often tell me I'm selfish for not having kids and actually enjoying my life. However, their disdain for my selfish lifestyle doesn't stop them from begging for money. My brother and sister have called me and asked me to help pay their bills. Now, if it's something serious like clothes or school supplies for their kids, I'm willing to pitch in, but I always refuse when I'm asked to pay for trips to amusement parks, etc. I also paid for my parents to stay in a high-end assisted living facility. They're my parents. I felt that I owed them this much. However, I couldn't help but feel insulted when they sang praises for my siblings for having children and following in their footsteps, and how my parents wish I had done the same. As if, among all their kids, I'm the biggest disappointment. For this reason, I've distanced myself from them. I only call or visit to check up on them and don't let them be a part of my life. The other day, I got a call from my sister asking if she, her husband, my brother, and his wife could come over. I said okay. They asked me to leave my fortune to their kids in equal portions. And if I did, they would stop asking me for financial help. They said this as if they were doing me a favor. "You don't have kids, so who are you going to leave it to?" asked my brother. I told them I was going to leave my money to charities and that I do not owe them anything. When they went on the "you're selfish" tirade, I told them to get lost. The next morning, I got a call from my father telling me they were disappointed in me. I simply hung up. The one family member who has stood by me is my youngest sister. She actually has everything together, and I could not be more proud of her. Here's what my parents did to deserve the downgrade. After the altercation with my siblings, my parents tried a different strategy. They tried to sweet-talk me, and suddenly their tune had changed from "you're so selfish" to "ah, we didn't mean it. Let's talk." So after they kept pestering me to have a word with them in person, I invited them over. Now my parents know very well that chocolate is bad for dogs, but my mom has tried to give them some on many occasions. When I tell her off, she always comes back with, "But maybe they like it, and I was just being nice." This time when they came over, I left them in the living room and went to the kitchen to get some refreshments. While I was there, one of my dogs came over to greet them. I could see them from the kitchen. My mom petted him for a while, then reached into her purse and pulled out a bar of chocolate. She broke off a piece and was about to give it to him when I stormed over and knocked it out of her hands. My parents looked shocked. I was enraged. Even after being told repeatedly that chocolate is bad for dogs, they just didn't get it. When I asked my mom what on earth she was doing, my dad actually started yelling at me and told me I was being rude. I told them either they were complete idiots or they were intentionally trying to hurt my dog. I told them I was sick of their nonsense and that they were on very thin ice with me. When they tried to argue back, I grabbed my dad by the arm and walked him out the door. My mom followed. This was less than a month ago, and a few days ago, they were moved to a much less cushy facility. They won't be mistreated. I would never allow that to happen. But all they'll have are nutritious meals, medical care, and a television they'll have to share with the others. The nice, fully furnished mini apartment they had earlier with all kinds of luxuries will soon be a distant memory. To all those assuming I'm a male, I am actually a female.
Wow, talk about a toxic family dynamic. It's amazing how some people can twist their own entitlement into a sense of victimhood. But let's shift gears now and dive into another world of entitled behavior. This time, it's not just about family expectations, but also about workplace dynamics. Imagine dealing with someone who thinks the world owes them something just because they exist. It's a different kind of battle, one that plays out in the hallways and offices rather than around the dinner table. Let's see how this IT professional handles an entitled coworker who thinks their personal devices are fair game for company support.
EP was angry that I wouldn't be her family IT guy at work. I work IT for a small company. I support about 25 people total, anything technology related owned by the company, and I am involved in it. I like my job. Most of the folks working here are good people, even though some of them are very difficult to train on computers. EP is a middle-aged woman who, as far as I can tell, gets paid more than I do to perform about 45 minutes of work a day that she stretches into a full 8-hour shift. She can't really even do that 45 minutes of work correctly most of the time, and I've had to come and retrain her on the software we use several times a month. EP also refuses to listen when I am helping her with tech issues and has something new to complain about every week. I'm told she only got the job because her dad and the owner of the company are old drinking buddies. Well, as annoying as EP is, I was able to mostly ignore her until this incident last week. I am in my office working on something when EP comes in with a laptop, some cables, and an iPad. She sets them down on my desk and just looks at me without saying a word. What's all this? My son's laptop and my iPad are having trouble. Can you fix them? Me. Sorry, EP, I don't work on personal devices. If it isn't owned by the company, I won't work on it. You'll have to go to a shop or something. Oh, come on. You fix this kind of stuff all the time. I bet it takes you 5 to 10 minutes tops to get them running. Then you can get back to whatever else you want to fix. Me, pushing the items back toward EP. Sorry, EP, that's not going to happen. Turning several shades of purple and red at this point. What is wrong with you? You sit around all day doing nothing, and when you finally come out of your office, it's to fix things that you obviously screwed up because you're incompetent. Just fix the things so I can take them home and use them again. I don't know why owner even keeps you around. You are so useless. Yes, I'm going to have to ask you to leave my office so I can get back to work. I go back to working on things, and EP grabs her stuff and storms out, slamming my door behind her. I get a call about 20 minutes later from the owner asking why EP was demanding I be fired. She had told him that I had laughed in her face and refused to help her. She even said I threatened to never help her with IT problems at work again, but because I was mad, she called me out on being lazy. I explained what actually happened and offered to send owner a copy of the camera footage of the entire incident, since there is a camera overlooking my entire office. The owner requested the footage, so I sent it to him. I get in the next day, and I realize EP isn't there. I ask around, and apparently owner called EP into his office and spoke with her about the incident. She tried to double down on her lies when owner showed her the footage, including audio, and caught her in the lie. He then offered to let her take some time off to cool her head before coming back to work, but that he'd expect her to make an apology to me for her behavior. This enraged EP, who everyone could hear even through closed doors, and after screaming about how awful a person I was, she stormed out of owner's office, grabbed her things, and shouted I quit before leaving. So she's gone for good. She was so unwilling to own up to her own poor behavior and apologize to me that she threw away a cushy job making way more money than she is likely to make anywhere else around here. What an idiot. On the plus side, without EP here constantly complaining, I'm getting a bit more work done each day.
Before I talk about today's posts, please consider subscribing for more engaging content like this. Today, we have some interesting stories from Reddit. The first post is about a successful individual who has distanced themselves from their family due to their entitled behavior and constant demands for financial help. It's shocking how they expected the OP to leave everything to their children just because they had none of their own. I mean, can you believe the audacity? And the second post is about an IT guy dealing with an entitled coworker who thought she could get away with anything because her dad was friends with the boss. It's crazy how some people think they're above the rules. What do you guys think about these situations? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and share this video if you enjoyed it. Thank you for listening to today's episode of Voiced. If you enjoyed daily high-quality stories, please like and subscribe to show your support.